welcome to the 4Corners podcast. I'm Brad, joined as always by Matt and Shad. Gentlemen, how are you doing this evening?
It's heckin'
I'm trying to.
cold.
Yes, it is.
I am trying to survive with going into the third snow day, uh, with my children at home, tomorrow. So, and trying to work at the same time, trying to work from home at the same time. I've been getting
Yeah.
up to start work at like 6:30 in the morning, which is not. It's a little bit earlier than I usually sign on to work, so
Yeah.
it's not great. And then we're doing that. My wife and I are doing that so we can actually get some small degree of work done before the kids get up and then just like demand too much of our attention.
Yeah.
And it's the kids are watching way more TV than we're comfortable with, but it's like, what are we gonna do?
Yeah.
Like, gotta entertain these kids.
That's wholly fair. I mean, there's going to be times where it's like, what option do we have? This is the option we got.
Well,
And
Yeah.
The problem up here is it's like, if in a lot of circumstances you could just chuck them outside to play in the snow, but it's too cold here to do that, so you can't.
yeah. Oh, it's
They're
it's
stuck inside with
nasty
you.
cold.
And our kids are a little too little. They're 6 and almost 3. So I can't just be like, go wander the neighborhood and
Nah,
or
Yeah.
even play outside. It's like I don't play outside. Like I can watch
Yeah.
you from my window, but I mean, I want y'all kidnapped. So
right.
Yeah. So we're doing something a little different, kind of as a bit of an experiment. So we have a single match we're going to review, and then we're going to do some like lighter topics. I think the TNA ratings for week 2 were kind of interesting. We can start off for that because they actually stayed pretty stable. They went down in the demo by 25%, but like they only lost, I think overall viewers, they lost 3,000, which I'm kind of surprised at. So I'm interested to see what happens there.
I kind of
For
don't.
those,
I don't know that I really trust the rating, but
I was
maybe.
going to say, were those verified or were those fast nationals?
No, that was I didn't see Brian, but they look like pretty the standard ones. I'm interested to see what they do though, because I was surprised by that, but maybe like people tuned in to see if it was going to be that bad again, or if it improved, or they kind of caught a different audience that time, because the demo going down, maybe some older like Fed fans tuned in or something, but I don't know. I'm a little perplexed by it because that first show was so bad, but maybe I don't know. Maybe the first show being so bad worked in their favor.
That would people tuning in to see if there was going to be more of a train wreck.
Yeah, get some of that Ed Wood effect going on.
Maybe.
Eddie. we are gonna do that. We're gonna do that on the show probably the next couple of months, because I showed Chad a couple clips of it, and I think he'll enjoy it.
It's really difficult because, first of all, I don't understand how you can have a show that is so big and so important for your company, and you just totally cock it up.
They don't know what they're doing. They have Delirious in charge, and I know.
Okay, just from the logistical standpoint, to say, oh, we had people with visa issues coming in. It's like, how short a notice did they have that they would be there for it, that you couldn't sort your visa issues out ahead of time? Why did they have such a short notice? How short ahead of time did you plan what this show layout would be? Like, there's...
Yeah, but the visa issues are a cope and a cop-out, because that affected one person as far as I can see. They had plenty of people that didn't wrestle on the show that were there. Like,
that were
Moose, there. Nick Namath. I still don't know.
They had a plan for Namath, but they didn't, they didn't plan things out properly. So
yeah, but why has Nick Namath not wrestled on the first 2 shows? That's what I want to know, because like I said, like week 1, even week 2, he would have been the first thing I would have had people see, and I would have had him wrestling. Because I know
Yeah, I would have too, because I'm of the opinion. I actually really like. Um, I really like how Nemeth wrestles. I mean, he got so insanely devalued by being the mid or the top of the card gatekeeper, so he never won when it mattered. But how do you have like one of your biggest names and not have him on there? How do you screw up your opening angle that it gets cut off and you have to share it by social media?
and and I think with him too, like he's not I think he's more well regarded than a lot of their other cast-offs. Like with Nick Namath, you don't. I mean, we kind of do, but we're kind of deeper in the bubble. But like, I don't automatically think like, oh, you're just cosplaying as like 2018 WWE with a bunch of their cast-offs. With Namath, it's like, oh no, I get that. Like, I would totally pick him up if I was that size of company because he does have a lot of upside to him. It's not like he's the broken down Hardys or anything.
Yeah. Yeah, the guy had, and not only that, but there's a lot of people that feel like that the guy was screwed out of success that he should have had by getting his knees clipped.
Yeah, and it's not like he's Mustafa Ali where like you might like Mustafa Ali, but he doesn't really move the needle for you. Like I think Nick would. So I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. I'll be interested to see what next week's um, show does because by all accounts that I saw and the bits I saw, week 2 was a lot better. It was more of a standard show. It wasn't like amazing, but it was acceptable. So, but
Yeah, I I still don't see long term like it's gonna work out because they have no roster,
no,
and I think we'll see it because if ratings pretty soon start falling off, because obviously the real intent of this is I think twofold. One, the hope that they catch fire to take away heat from AEW, and also to fuel the narrative like, oh guys, they're the real number 2 promotion. It's like they're not, and it would take heaven and earth to even get them in the
actually,
conversation as number 2.
the prevailing theory of why they actually did this, and they're actually undercutting themselves with like the Leon Slater stuff. But the thing I've seen some people who I would take credibly have said this is about more about dodging an antitrust lawsuit.
Antitrust,
Yeah,
probably.
and giving
But
themselves.
if the ratings start to fall off a cliff, uh, in part because they have no roster, like look for the WWE to ramp up with allowing NXT stars to be on TNT, and then it's just gonna be like it's gonna be NXT like the B show,
But see,
which it already kind of was, but
I wouldn't have done that. Like I don't know. Like I know they don't have money, so that's part of the problem, and they're kind of going cheap. But like, why didn't you why didn't you try and get like Baron Corbin and Killer Cross on the show? Why didn't you reach out to EC3? Like why didn't you why didn't you maybe say to WWE since you're working together like, "Hey, could we maybe use Matt Cardona?" Like you know what I'm saying? Like they had some avenues like, and I don't think those are great options. Like I'm not excited by any of those options, but like Baron Corbin and Killer Cross and EC3 would help you.
look, you have at least some degree of guys, and maybe they'll go this way, but I doubt it. But you have some degree of guys who are you have WWE ID contracts for. I know that those people aren't like really WWE contracted people in the sense like they obviously can take independent bookings, but you have these guys, right? Like you could be like, hey TNA, like these guys should get reps, they should get TV exposure. They're not really signed to WWE contracts, but maybe you could be using them, and even if it's like a per appearance thing,
Yeah, that's what
you
most of their
try some of these
talent's on.
guys out. Yeah, you try some of these guys out, and some of these guys catch fire. Maybe you offer them like a contract. Like you could use those guys. Like those guys would be cheap, affordable. I guess is the nicer way to put it. But I agree with you. Like, why don't you try and sign Baron Corbin or like Killer Cross? It's like, what are they doing? Like they're maybe taking indie dates, but you could. I guess Baron Corbin's with MLW. And maybe that's the reason why you wouldn't use him, because MLW probably has heat with WWE because they actually won a lawsuit
Yeah.
against the WWE. I mean, for those who want to nitpick, the WWE setting a lawsuit, that's losing a lawsuit. Like, I know sometimes you're not admitting fault with that, but you're losing a lawsuit if you settle the lawsuit, essentially.
You move to settle because you don't think you can win.
Well, they don't.
I'm sorry, that's my assumption, Matt. Please correct me if I'm wrong.
You either are going to potentially lose at trial, or it's going to be more costly for you to pursue one way or the other. Either financially, it's going to cost you more money to actually litigate it in terms of legal fees and potentially losing, but certainly like
PR
legal
hits.
fees,
the PR hits,
or the
worse.
PR hits.
Yeah,
and they didn't want that to proceed, because then if you actually, because it was basically you meddled with our TV deal, and also it edged into that like antitrust monopoly stuff, which the WWE or TKO does not want going on. So they settled pretty quickly. And that's why, just as an aside, I can't recall if I said this on the show, but as an aside, that's why you see Andrade on AEW TV, because he debuted and he was gone, and then it became out the story. It's like, oh, actually WWE hit him with a non-compete clause, even though they fired him for cause.
Yeah.
They said, oh, we have this clause in your contract that we can basically ice you for a year, sit your ass down for a year, and you're not allowed. And it's like, how are you going to say a man you fired, be like, oh, but you can't work for a year. You can't get any employment anywhere. We're not allowing that per the contract. It's like, it was completely asinine. And he didn't do anything for like a month or two. And then apparently Roosh from AEW hooked him up with an attorney. An attorney got involved, and literally within like a week, all that was cleared up. They released him from that clause, whatever, and he's on AEW TV. And it's like, yeah, of course they did, because as soon as a lawyer got involved, which I'm sure a lawyer sent one letter. I'm sure it wasn't this big thing. He probably sent a letter saying like, oh, you're not going to release him? You're going to make him sit for a month? Okay, we're going to file a lawsuit. And in my lawsuit, I'm going to get all your information about contracts. We're going to get into that whole juicy detail of what is an independent contractor and all of that. I can't wait for discovery. It's going to be great. And as soon as like that communication hit, they're like, oh, okay, he's good. You're good.
Yeah.
We're no problem. Because they don't want that. They don't want that legal battle, because that's going to be that could blow up in their face so badly.
It's not worth it to just ice him out, because why it's not worth it to them in a grander scheme is he's not going to move the needle for AEW. So why are you going to potentially throw hundreds of thousands of dollars away litigating a matter that you're probably going to lose, like over a guy that's not going to make a difference, that you're just being petty over?
He's not going to move the needle in some ways that we consider that, but he's already gotten a lot of like fire in like the last few days, and he seems like he's over with crowds, and I think he's going to be doing more CMLL stuff, and the crowds there seem to be like really receptive.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's like he's going to move a needle, but he actually could become kind of like how Bandito in the last year has really elevated himself. He could become like a bigger star in AEW, and maybe this time around he's going to be a little more game, because I think there was some of that, like he had some attitude stuff, and I think he
had some good stuff though. There was like
he's a great worker.
There was like a Rampage match that was like him, Sammy Guevara, and Darby Allin. Yeah, that was really good. There's a great match. There's like a lot of other stuff he did, and like, I mean, I know people made a big deal about him and Sammy getting into it, but everyone was getting into arguments with Sammy at the time, so
yeah,
it was, but I do think that Andrade was kind of being like, oh, I can pull a CM Punk and get fired, and I think Tony Khan was like, no.
He turned it around.
You're
though.
not. Yeah,
I mean, he didn't
turn it around.
It's not like Rusev, where like WWE is like pretty much just admitted they gave up on him this last week. They're like, no, we
gave up on Aleister Black too.
Well, it's because Aleister Black's made of graham crackers, and he's not over because he needs to change his shit, because no offense, like it was like they did some cool stuff. Like I like their entrance and stuff, but like he's been doing the same thing for like 6 years now, and like I don't think I don't know the what do we want to call it, the woo woo shit's getting a little too worn out in wrestling.
It how can I phrase this? The spoopy stuff only works when you've got some kind of credible threat behind it.
You mean when you're
And
Mark Calloway and no other time? Oh no, Kane.
uh,
Sorry.
yeah, there can you do it? Yes. I mean, truth be told, I'm still going to maintain Bray Wyatt could have been successful if they would have actually ever closed any of his pushes instead of just killing him at the end of them.
The
But
Fiend. The Fiend got a little. The Fiend was bad. The Wyatt family. The Wyatt
I think the
family
Wyatt
was
family
fine.
worked. It worked at points. It didn't. It didn't get to where it probably could have.
But they.
But
but it was their original NXT though. They were like a creepy hillbilly cult. Like no, not hillbilly. They were a creepy swamp people
Bayou cult.
Yeah.
Yeah. If we get
they
to,
were
like,
Florida Man. They were Florida Man. The group is essentially what they.
But what I'm saying is, go ahead,
yeah,
Matt.
go ahead, Chad. No, finish your thought, please.
So what I'm saying is, I think it can work, but it's only if you cannot have an aura of menace if you never win anything, or if you don't regularly win things of importance. So what was up with House of Black? Like they held the trios titles once, and that worked. But the problem is that they didn't. And I don't care what the actual thing was. There was definitely something about somebody, probably Malachi, Alistair, whatever, not wanting to play ball, so they didn't ever do anything big with him.
Well, I think he
and
was always.
So he just kind of sat around and didn't do anything because they sat around and didn't do anything with him because they couldn't play ball with him. So even though he had a great entrance, it never went anywhere.
Well, I think,
and that's the same thing with the Wyatt Six. It's like, oh, we're doing tag stuff, and then what? More tag stuff.
I also think he didn't want to play ball, but I also think the other problem is like he was just physically like always on the verge of injury, so they didn't want to because I feel like they were protecting him a lot in six mans, hoping he'd get healthier, and he never did. And like the way he's been treated in WWE kind of makes me think like, oh, he never got healthy.
I mean, isn't he like 40 now? Like he's at the point where it's like you're older, so you're not gonna. Well, I mean, I guess that age is not a big area in WWE,
Yeah.
but I will say this: like somebody out there, not just Alistair Malachi, is the real answer. I'm sure, like Tony Khan, whatever. But it probably is the case that his body was injured or shot, so he didn't want to be just certainly like a single star. Because I mean, when he came, well, the whole Cody feud was a mess.
Really killed him. The Cody feud did like
right at the gate. Right at the gate, like you should have him just kill Cody dead, and then that's it. And then Cody doesn't get his win back. And then you could, because there was a window, certainly at the time in AEW, you could have had him be like, you could literally put him to like main event, potentially, or at least upper mid card, and it didn't. But I think if he was injured, I think there was some of that, because I don't think it was by coincidence that he's like just mostly in like trios matches or tag team matches. I think his body was probably injured, and he kayfabed it was like, oh, it's not true. Like I was perfectly healthy, and it's like, were you? That's giving you an out, because otherwise you're just a dick who doesn't want to like shoulders in the mat. That's the joke with him. It's like he has horrible back pain. Like it happens anytime. Like his shoulders, his thoracic spine, like his shoulders are down on the mat for more than 3 seconds.
But
I
think
it
legitimately
probably was also that too. Like
I
he probably wanted to
legitimately
be back
think
in the WWE.
I think that's true, but I do think like the way they used him for most of his run, like you don't use guys like that. I mean, and I never thought he's a main eventer, but like you don't use guys like that unless there's problems. And WWE's kind of continued that trend of like he hasn't really wrestled much, and when he does, he's in there for a very short period of time. And then like Rusev, they're just like, oh, we didn't sideline Rusev. We just decided to give him like the next 6 months off, like AEW
Yeah,
always
the
did,
phrase
because
"we don't
They
bench people." It's like, really?
they had a great PR answer where it's like, well, we don't want him just like appearing on TV, just losing or whatever. Like we're not gonna have him because we want to keep him fresh. And it's like, okay, like he's also not getting younger, so it's like him not being on
Yeah,
TV for 6 months. It's like I'm not gonna remember him per se, but and that Rusev was a guy like he came in and that's a thing with a lot of these guys who come from AEW to WWE, even if they've been WWE to AEW now back to WWE, they come back basically doing the same stuff they were doing in AEW. And Rusev, it's like you literally had him debut with like the Redeemer gimmick,
which was a terrible
and it
idea
failed.
for. Well,
It
yeah,
failed,
because
and they could
like,
have again. Redeemer gimmick is like to me, it was like money. It's like you could
but
push this
yeah,
guy
but that
at
doesn't.
least your upper mid card.
But that doesn't. I that doesn't work for their crowds. That was too much. Like there was too many. Like I think it's fine for most companies, but like he was essentially a Knight Templar, and like your average WWE fan doesn't want to think that much about a gimmick. It's kind of why like when they
He's a
tried to
blood knight,
recreate.
basically.
Yeah, but it's like when they tried to recreate like the Tony Storm Mariah May feud, it didn't work because like, well, one, there were two, like the sexual elements didn't land with their fan base. But like I just think it's just not a WWE gimmick. Like they like their gimmicks, and I don't mean this. I don't mean this bad. They like lower brow gimmicks. They like easy to digest gimmicks. They haven't really been fed like a tough gimmick to digest in a long time. And then you come in with this gimmick that's like kind of really outside of their wheelhouse.
yeah.
I don't
I
know. I
think
just
I actually I like the House of Black vignettes in AEW. I actually like them a lot. It made me excited for the group, and then the group didn't really pan out to what it didn't live up to its potential at all. But thinking just in general about spooky gimmicks in wrestling, like I feel most have not worked. I mean, I guess Undertaker and by some extent Kane are probably the most successful. Um, but I feel like they don't. They
Muda.
have a. Muda wasn't always like a spooky gimmick. Like there was some elements of that sometimes, but not always. Uh,
I'm trying to
I feel
think.
like it's of like sometimes like they can work, but oftentimes like they work at it for a short duration. Like Taker's
Gangrel.
Gangrel kind of, yeah.
He's had a
But Gangrel
career.
isn't just 100% like spooky all the time. Like
No,
there's
but
the elements, but he's not.
I mean, and he was kind of cashing in on like the vampire fad at the time. But I mean, he's made
Yeah.
a career out of it, and he's never really changed much.
No, but he's not. He's not 100% like doing guys in blood or like trying to bite their necks or
Yeah,
stuff like that. It's kind of just part of the gimmick, but it's
I'm trying to think of one.
largely. I don't think that spooky gimmicks like sustainability, but
No,
I kind of like spooky gimmicks. When they're done reasonably well.
the zombie on the first episode of WWE ECW.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Spooky gimmicks. The thing that I think slips people's minds on the spooky gimmicks, like, well, the Undertaker. It's like, yeah, but how long was the Undertaker honestly a mid card act?
He
And
was
then they
always
started
kind.
pushing him as something serious.
I mean, he won the title his first year.
He did. He won the title, then lost the title within a week, and then did what?
He was like the. I wouldn't say he was a mid carder. He was like. He was kind of like off in his own little section that he won all the time, and he was a big deal. But
He
like, he wasn't like. He wasn't necessarily like a
he
threat for the title because they kept him
he
separate.
he wasn't in like the title scene until like the Attitude Era.
96, 97.
Yeah, but he was, I guess you could say, a featured attraction. Like he was actually, he was pushed as a star. He was protected.
Yeah.
Right.
So and he would have matches with like your really big heels. I mean, there was the Yokozuna. He was
We
feuding
should
with
watch
Yokozuna,
that
which
one
El
is
day.
not.
Gigante.
We should watch that one
Yeah.
day.
Oh,
The Royal Rumble. Is that the 93 Rumble that happened at?
God.
I think that was like, and that was so
And
overkill.
like the fake Undertaker
Literally had like
thing.
20 guys like attacking him.
Yeah, the fake
Yeah,
Undertaker
that was a Royal
angle.
Rumble.
The fake Undertaker angle that followed that, they main evented SummerSlam with that. So
Yeah.
he's always been like a big deal. He was just separate. But I
Yeah.
think people wouldn't understand like those concepts of like the guys that didn't need the title kind of doing their own thing.
Well, and like I said, if you want to be taken seriously with the spoopy gimmick, you have to consistently be successful. Because if you've got a guy who's a monster, but you job him out, then he's not a monster anymore. He's a dude in a Halloween costume.
Yeah, that's the
So
problem. A few guys can like come back from that, but like it's harder for monsters.
yeah, so can it be done? Absolutely, I think it can be done.
Kane was
But
kind of immune to it because like Kane was this weird case of you could do nothing with him for years. And then the second you teased or just put him into a big angle, the crowds immediately like either got behind him as a face or went against him as a heel. Like he's a very weird outlier of
maybe this is unfair of me, but I refer to that as I think of that as Taker adjacent. It's like he had that Taker rub, so he was getting the same kind of vibe going.
when he was big,
It's
he had
Shad.
like an aura, like he didn't let the losses affect him very much. Like I think, and he also
What-
Kane evolved over time too.
What's
He
up,
did.
Matt?
This is just a inside joke between the three of us. Certainly you and me. I haven't been in a while. I actually have been meaning to go. Because certainly my kids love like chicken nuggets, chicken strips. But there's
Yeah.
I told it for like a year or so ago. Like they opened a Raising Cane's near me, within like a 10-minute drive, a good like couple miles from where I live.
Yeah.
And every time I go, I think of like the joke he made to me. It's like, that's gotta be Cane's.
It was just
Look.
so easy.
He is an awful human being, but Vince has left us sometimes with some of his calls or just things he's done. It's just absolute hilarity in pro wrestling. That's up there. That's gotta be Kane.
It's interesting
He says so
because
seriously.
it's interesting though that like I think Triple H's veneer of being a good booker is gone, but like people still act like Vince had like no merits as a booker ever. It's like no, Vince was legit good for a long time. He just got old. Like you're comparing Triple H to a decrepit old man that lost his touch, who still, at his worst, was right about every one of Triple H's NXT toys that he got rid of.
Yes, and Vince, even when he was at his worst, at the very end, I would still make the argument, straight face, not ironically, 100%, that even if his booking wasn't as logically as good as Triple H's, it was 100 times more interesting.
Yeah, because he had
Triple H is boring as fuck
Mhm.
and tends to go to the same tropes and push the same storylines and has for like the last 3-4 years. That's why like I can argue till I'm blue in the face. People are sick of me that people be like, oh, like the last 3-4 years, golden years of WWE, it's so great. And obviously they financially did really well. But in my opinion, it's crap and has been crap. It's not good storylines. It's actually boring storylines. It's not well done.
They never talk about what's
So all the
happened
stuff
the
that you
last
think
4
that
years.
Triple H has done good, it's like it's not good. But
They don't
I
talk
Triple,
about
I
yeah.
still
anything.
Vince would throw so much bullshit at the wall, and it would not really stick. But it was interesting at least. Triple H has been boring.
With Vince
So
was
it was Triple H's stuff. I think had a honeymoon period because it was a departure and logical from what Vince was doing. But
it's the same as
now
Vince was
the
doing.
shine is off. Yeah, the shine is off, and it's not good.
Well, and
And
they
so people were so happy to have consistent that whenever we got to now, they're getting to the place where it's like, yeah, it's consistent, but who cares?
but they also they got conned on that because they intentionally did things a little differently at first, and then the Vinceisms came back pretty quick. But I also think like what Matt said, like Vince's stuff was more interesting, but like even towards the end, like anytime Vince would absolutely put his foot down about something, he was always right. That's the thing, like as bad as Vince got, he still understood like what the fans wanted, which Triple H does not like
Um,
understand.
just as a quick example, because you say he had a better grip on it. Yeah, I can roll with that. But for example, Austin Theory.
Yeah, but they're trying to push him again though, and he's fooled a lot
Yeah,
of
yeah.
people.
Well, Vince tried to make him, and it didn't work. And now they're trying to make him again, and it's not working. So
But like
I'm
people
yeah.
bitched endlessly about it, but after Killer Cross's second run that totally failed, I'm like, yeah, I would have made him Lord Humongous too. Vince was right.
I think Vince accelerated that in order to have an excuse to get rid of him sooner. Um,
I could just
I, I think it's a little crappy to pull someone up and then take away what might be marketable about them
yeah, but I think what
to have a
happened
reason
there
to get rid
is
of them.
I think what happened there though is Vince took one look at him and he's like, "Who's this vanilla jobber in front of me? Like, no one's gonna cheer." You know what I mean? I think Vince just saw right through it and was like, "This guy's doesn't have anything."
I never really cared for the guy, and I just don't think it's fair to pull them up, take away what makes him marketable, and call him a failure, even if I don't think he was very good.
He was a failure in NXT though. And the excuse is always, well, it's not for NXT fans, it's for the main roster. And that kind of didn't work either. But like, I mean,
Yeah, I remember the start of the angle to have him beat Keith Lee, and I was just like, "What the hell are we doing here? What is this?" Uh,
but yeah, I think it's interesting too that people call it a golden era and that, like, you probably couldn't even. I think a lot of the people that say that could give less events that happened over time than I could. Like in that phrase, like, okay, well, what happened that you really liked? And it would be probably like one of three things, mostly bloodline related. And I could probably name the angles, and it's just like, okay, but like if the booking was that good, like there's still like dumb like little things like head cheese from the Attitude Era that I remember, and
It
Chester
is big
Cheeserton.
it is big 2026, and you just had the Gorillas of Destiny, like the other bloodline. They just won the tag titles off the Y6, and you have Roman Reigns declare for the Royal Rumble, and Roman Reigns is politicking behind the scenes to prominently be featured in WrestleMania, maybe as the main event.
And
So
Finn
it's like
Balor is
we are
not
not
allowed
done.
in the
We're
Rumble
not
for
done with the
reasons.
bloodline. It's I cannot believe it's 2026 and we're not done with the bloodline.
I know.
It's still rearing its head.
And Finn
Yeah.
Balor is not allowed in the Rumble for reasons, even though like people that would have far less of an argument were just able to say I'm in the Rumble. I think Javon Evans is
yeah,
in. I don't know.
there's yeah, and why isn't Finn Balor in the Rumble? Oh, it's full. It's like, I'm sorry, what?
Well, no, he's not allowed in the Rumble because we have to prove Triple H isn't racist by pushing a couple of black guys for a couple of months half-heartedly. That's what's going on.
I just, I know as soon as the Rumble's over, there's going to be a list that's going to get upvoted a lot on probably on r// squared circle. It's like, so this person could have gone. This spot could have gone to Finn Balor. This spot could have gone to Finn Balor. This spot could have gone to Finn Balor. But you didn't want to do that. It's like, yeah, yeah, that's coming.
Yeah, it makes me so sad
Finn
because
Balor. Good.
the Royal Rumble is like my favorite gimmick match, and it was my favorite pay-per-view for years. And I can't think of a good Rumble in the last 10 years.
I could probably say like there are some that have been fine, but one
I
that
think
you actually would be like, oh my god, that it makes like a lingering impression. Like I can't.
like
I can't.
the one AJ Styles debuted at might be the last one that was really memorable.
That one sucked. That Rumble sucked. They brought AJ out at like number 3. They screwed up the video capture for it because
Yeah.
that was the Rumble that Roman had to win to retain the title. That Rumble sucked.
Okay, the one before that was the last good one then. Was that whichever one? Which one had Braun debut and just destroy Lesnar with the Wyatts?
I don't know.
Like I said, it's there hasn't been like a good or a memorable one, and some of them have outright sucked. Like the last 4 or 5, like have all kind of outright sucked. Like the ones that Rollins won, the one Rollins won was terrible.
I'm so used to the fact that they just somewhere along the way they lost the formula.
It's because Jericho's not
and
there.
I don't know how.
Jericho's not there. They don't have
Was Jericho the only one that read the handout? I mean,
He's
let's be honest for a
but,
second.
But think about it though. He was always going out there like in the first 5, and then the second he was gone and wasn't in them anymore, they've sucked.
Yeah.
Well, and the talent. The other problem though is on top of that, the quality of the talent is like gone way down, because if you go back, like there are some crazy people that were there for like a couple years in NXT forever, like Riddick Moss, and you're just like, wow, I totally forgot that guy existed.
Yeah.
Or what was the other guy? I can't think of his name. We always used to make fun of him. He had like the guitar.
Boogs.
Elias.
Oh yeah, Boogs.
Oh, Rick Boogs.
Yeah, Rick Boogs. We used to make fun of Rick Boogs all the time.
The problem.
That name was just awful.
It was.
The Rumble is like kind of played out because they don't. But it's obviously been going on for like 30 years, 30 plus years. 25 years maybe at this point. I guess some things it's like you've done all the tropes, but it's kind of also like you have a lot of guys just like, oh, the guy comes in like you either have a monster come in and he just tosses a bunch of people, which you've done it and that's still kind of fun, but
there's been tropes
Or
other
you have-
companies have invented though, because like Stardom a lot of times they do like the dog pile that WWE has never done, which if you haven't seen that, it's pretty much someone starts attacking someone and then someone gets on top of them and starts like doing something, and then they just keep piling on each other sequentially, and this poor woman on the bottom is just getting absolutely crushed by like a pile of humanity, and it's a good like comedy spot. But like I would even say like when I've seen like Stardom and other companies do it better now, and which is like insane to me.
because a lot of the WWE is just like guys come in and they just mill about. They don't do anything interesting unless you have either got the spots where someone gets thrown over, or you try to recreate for how many years now in a row the Kofi Kingston like, oh, avoid
I know.
elimination. And again, I'm not trying to be this way too, but I also do feel like the Rumble lost to me a lot of its luster when it's like, well, gotta have the women's Rumble too, and it's like
that made it worse, because
do we?
No, that's made War Games matter less. Hell in a Cell, and there have been years like when they did Sasha Banks and Becky. I think that was the most deserving of Hell in a Cell. But this idea that the women have to do every exact same thing that the men do has really like diminished everything. And sitting through 2 Rumbles is just atrocious, and the women's one is always bad.
I think it could go a long way towards being better if there was if they didn't insist on those events happening at the same time. Because if you had the Royal Rumble in January, but you had the Women's Rumble in September, then they would not feel as devalued, I think. You spread them out, or you use one to set up Mania and the other one to set up SummerSlam or something. I don't know. But it just, you put them both at the same time, and then people just, they get real tired of it.
We give the women something different to do. Like, if you want to set up a Mania women's match, why don't you, like, use Elimination Chamber? Like, why don't you do, like, a month of having, like you have to wrestle your way into the Elimination Chamber, and then whoever wins the chamber gets to go to Mania. Like, there's ways around it, and it's just, like I said, when you have 2 War Games, like, half the time it's like, well, the women didn't even do anything to, like, require a War Games. And even, like, the Rumble, it's like, you don't even have enough women on the roster to make this work. Without, like, a bunch of call-ups that disappear and surprises and everything.
Yeah, that's the thing that gets me, is that they having so many people who were added into some of those Rumbles that weren't on the main roster because they straight up did not have enough people for it. It's just like,
No.
then you shouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
Well, and the women's Rumbles too. It's like, how many people are you gonna dig up from the last like 20, 30 years to fill Oh, it's Trish Stratus again. It's like Trish Stratus is great, and developed into a good worker, but now Trish Stratus is like probably like 50.
And she's not good anymore because she wrestles like
Tori
once every 3
Tori
years.
Wilson's like 50.
Yeah.
And I'm not hating, but it's also like, I shouldn't have to go like 20 years back.
It's
to
the
get,
same.
like,
It'd be the same thing with the guys if
stars.
they were bringing in, like, I don't know, the Boogeyman. You just be like, oh, really?
I feel like they did not. I feel like Boogeyman's popped up at times. Maybe
Right. He
I should look
pops
to
up more
see
as
where his
like a
last time.
he pops up more as like a joke here and there, I think. But it's kind of like the same thing where it's like, oh, you found Matt Morgan. I didn't even know that guy was still alive. Okay, well, now I know.
I didn't
It'd
know
be
that
like,
guy was still wrestling. Yeah.
But like, what's
With-
interesting though is if you go back to like the Attitude Era when it was really popular, like what they're doing now with a lot of that stuff and a lot of the nostalgia baiting, it would be like if they were constantly bringing people from the late 70s in, like, oh, here's the Valiants. Do you remember the Valiants? It's like, no, I wasn't alive. But that's the kind of stuff they're doing now, and it just, I don't know. So anyway, our match of the week here. So this is from the 4Corners Hall TJPW show. This is
Joshi Pro Wrestling.
And
for
this
those
is
who don't know.
This is Shad, after hearing about it lots and lots and lots. This is his first exposure to TJPW. So this is Miu Watanabe defending the Princess of Princess Championship against Suzume.
Is it Miu or Miu? I actually am not sure.
I don't know.
Miu. I think it's Miu.
I always tell myself
sure
how to. I always make a mental note of how to pronounce it, and then I always do the opposite. So you'll have to forgive me. So this is from the 1/4 show from this year. Meltzer gave this 4.5 stars, which after watching it, I think is a pretty fair interpretation. I actually enjoyed this match a lot because I'll kind of go into some of the things I like about this match. So one, I like Mayu's offense because she's kind of a brute. So she doesn't overcomplicate everything. Her stuff is just, I'm strong. I'm going to do strong person things. So I don't need to like throw twists or turns into it. Like, I'm just going to pick you up and slam you onto my leg and then stretch you, or I'm going to drop you on your face. Or the one thing she does do that I love though is she does the double sledgehammer strike, which is good stuff.
But yeah.
So let me give a quick I'm not by no means an expert. But just as a visual, for people who don't know, you can Google Miu, Miu, and then Watanabe, and you can see what she looks like. She's part she's part of an idol group, which is not really like idol culture is big in certainly in Japan, in like Korea. Like it's kind of like a mix of pop music, like singing
It's like
superstar type of thing.
it's pretty much like Swifties on crack, is what it is.
Kind of. She's part of and they have a group in Tokyo Joshi Pro called the Up Girls, and they actually do music videos. Like there's
Yeah,
one that I saw a few months back that actually it was a music video, with some production values attached to it.
Yeah, they come
And for
out.
some reason,
They come out
go ahead.
before the shows and sing on most of them too.
Usually at the beginning of the shows, like they'll come out and do like a little dance number, and there's 4 of them. Miu, is Raku one of them?
I think so.
I think so, and then there's a couple other ones. I think Shinu, and someone else I forget. But they come out, they do like a dance number, they sing a song. It's 2-3 minutes long. It's not, but it's like they're kind of faces. They're very upbeat. And Miyu Watanabe she's part of that group. But I think her background is in softball. She's not old. She's in her 20s, and she's a Japanese young woman. If I had to look up her measurements, she's probably very petite. She looks petite. Like she's probably the one. Like
she's
I
added
would guess.
She's added. You can tell she's added definition the last year or so.
She's if she were to go, hold up her muscles, she's muscular, but not in an, how do I put this delicately? I'm not trying to be rude. Not in an unfeminine way. She's more like she has an athletic build. But she's petite.
She's kind of like no, you can usually tell.
In terms of like build, she makes me think of Alex Windsor, who is not weak, who is not small, but it's also not like like blown up. Like she's
and here's another thing to know about Miyu. She's strong. She's strong as hell.
Stupidly.
She has
farm girl strong.
She's very strong. She has videos of her like holding up weights and like dancing and like doing the weights like this. And
I think there's videos of her picking like guys up. Like there's videos of her like picking...
there's a great video of her like slapping or chopping a guy in the chest, and the guy's like, because it probably does hurt. Like I just randomly, because I like sometimes do weights when I'm at work, just pause and do weights. This is just a 10-pound weight. It's nothing special, but she'll be doing like dancing and stuff like that with like at least a 10-pound weight or more. And doing it where she's dancing around and it's like effortlessly. And I guess 10 pounds, you at home, you'd be like, oh, 10 pounds is not a lot. It's like, go do like dancing around with 10-pound weights and moving around like you're holding like a feather. Like it's not as easy as you might think unless you're strong, in which case you could just move that around like nobody's business. And she does that. And she's strong as hell. And you can see that in this match.
Yeah, so Suzume is very... Suzume is very small, but there's stuff she does that is like effortless.
Yeah, Suzume, the other thing to know about Suzume, she's a smaller girl. She is very, very petite. I said Miyu is petite, and she is, because I've had to look it up. She's feet at most. Suzume tall and very petite, very thin. And so she is, to Miyu, who's not a big girl, but strong as hell. Suzume is like your plucky underdog, babyface, cruiserweight, playing, and that's part of the thing of this match, that Miyu is very strong. Suzume is very quick and agile. So she's going to try to use her speed and agility against the bigger, stronger opponent.
And avoid desperately like actually locking up or going at her face to face is kind of her strategy.
It's very much like hit and fade.
Quick strikes.
Yeah. And using any like opportunity she can to like get her off her feet. Because there's this cool thing she did on the floor I didn't see coming, where Miyu's kind of down on the floor, and she comes off the apron and just face plants her right into the the floor, which I thought was really cool.
That's one thing in this match that I noticed that Suzume, I don't know if I want to call it a signature or a tendency or a proclivity or something, but she was very good about um, the way she used face busters. She would transition into them very smoothly. She would find openings to use them. So it's kind of like, oh, it's kind of like Ricky Steamboat with arm drags. You know,
Yeah.
there's plenty of people who it it was a, I don't want to call it a filler move, but it was a good move that she could reflexively hit
And
to.
and it was something that she could leverage Miyu's weight against her, is what a lot
Yeah.
of those moves were. That's what she relied on a lot.
I just like criticism. This is like a personal preference. She did it with just like the hand on Miu's head, like pushing her down.
Mhm.
Like to me, it's like I would prefer like a bulldog, like getting the head like a headlock and then doing it. Just like because I feel like it takes me a little bit out of the suspension of disbelief when it's just like grabbing your head and like moving down. I feel like I could just be like shrugging you off, or at least someone
Well,
like
if
Miu
I'm
who
if
is stronger.
I'm gonna disagree with you on that, because if someone goes like wraps their arm around you, you might be able to squirm out of that. But if they're getting a handful of your hair, you're going where they're taking you.
Maybe again,
There's
it was a personal preference. So it's a personal gripe
yeah,
versus I think it
there's
really just
a grappling term that I heard a lot was, if you control the head, you can control the body. And that grip right there, you know, grip in the back, in the hair on the back of the head, and then driving, like, there's only so much you can do against that. I had someone who was a third of my size try and hook me like a clinch around my neck once, and I tried to stand up with it, and my neck was just like, nope, you're never doing that again. um I liked it just because it was an opportunistic grab this, and I'm using my body weight against the top end of your body. So, you know, you have less to brace again. Like, if I was trying to push you in the middle of your body, sure, but you know, just tipping her over with it, I just really liked it.
I also like that. I also like that Mayu was working subtly heel in this match.
it was very subtle heel. She wasn't like a true heel in this, but
She was
she was
she was
clearly
making herself unsympathetic because she's visibly like frustrated and annoyed.
there was so this I like this. I haven't seen so okay, let me walk it through. Like I have not seen the match where she won the title, the Princess of Princess titles from Mizuki for the second time. Uh Mizuki won the title off her like in 2024.
No, she won it on the
And
last one for 25 show, because I did see that match.
no, she did. No, Miyu did. Miyu did. But
No.
Mizuki, like,
Mizuki won it on the 1-4 show from 2025 is when she won it.
okay, so, okay, sorry. Okay, so
Because I
my
think
timing was a little bit off.
yeah, that's when
That sounds right. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Mizuki had it, and then she lost it again to Miyu. But Mizuki ended Miyu's first reign, and that match was a little had some shades of this, where it's the stronger Miyu against a lighter, faster opponent. Uh, but I didn't like that too because again, it kind of took me out because Miyu is clearly like she's strong and she's doing power moves, and then Mizuki was kind of like beating her up at points, and I'm like I don't quite buy it because Mizuki is a good worker, but she's also like she's really thin and petite, and there was a little too. I felt it needed to be more like this match where Suzume is using her speed and agility to get quick strikes and take opportune like moments of opportunity, like like there's an opening, I'm going to do a drop kick, or I'm going to do like the face plant, things like
Or
that.
trying to
Where
use
I didn't like that with Mizuki. Yeah,
mat work to gas her out too.
yeah, but in that Mizuki match, and now also in this one, Miu did kind of play subtle heel, and it's a largely where she knows she's stronger and can manhandle her opponent. And so sometimes she starts doing it, and that happened in like the first, like, let's say fourth of the match, where she's kind of getting the advantage against Suzume. And there are points where she's like putting Suzume in holds, and it's like Suzume doesn't want, she's fighting whatever, but Miyu's much stronger, so she's just like forcing it. It's like if Shad and I were in a match, and it's like Shad's trying to put me into like a full Nelson. I'm like fighting whatever. It's like stronger. It's like, nope. Like, bro, I'm gonna lock that into you, and you can't stop it because I'm stronger than you. So I'm gonna muscle it in. And I'm like struggling, but
Yeah.
got a stronger opponent. And there was points in that where Miyu was doing that. And then I think that one thing that I think, because I know Brad and I have watched her, and one of the ways that Miyu has improved over time, especially as she's been elevated to the main event, is that she's changed her facials sometimes. Like in a moment like this, where she's like doing stuff like that, and maybe this is partly the subtle heel type of thing, where it's like she knows she's stronger, and like she'll show it, where it's like grits it, and it just like locks in something. And sometimes she'll do it where it looks a little snug, where it's like with effect, and it's like, oh, you're gonna fight me, like I'm gonna like sink this hold in a little bit tighter than maybe you're comfortable with, because I have the strength to do it. You can't stop me. And it's really subtle little things like that that I think does add to, again, the overall story you're trying to tell, and her getting across what she's doing. And again, it's not like a heel thing, but it is kind of a
Like
little subtle heel.
like a good example, I think, where she did it really well to be unsympathetic is like she was visibly like frustrated that she couldn't do the giant swing because
Oh
like
yeah,
Suzume just latched onto her leg the first time. And then she thought
Yeah.
she had it and she latched onto the ropes and she's just like, "Oh, come on."
So in this match, I found myself really enjoying um, Suzume's work because she was doing, we already mentioned the facebuster thing, but Suzume's work was very quick, very cruiserweighty style stuff, but everything was done that had a point and fed into something else. And it was not uh and I know I've said this before and I can't remember if it was the right name, but was it Jack Evans that I picked on before, Brad? For
They
doing acrobatic stuff for the sake of doing it?
Yeah, you picked on him before.
Yeah. So, but for Suzume, she comes running in, slides, does like a turn to get behind Watanabe, and then in doing, she like turns to get behind her, and then like uses that turn to go into a backslide, which I'd never seen before, and I really like that transition. And she was doing that sort of stuff a lot. She'd go in, and anything that she did that was going to be acrobatic or flippy or whatever was to transition into something that made sense, and I really liked that. But also the other thing I really liked Watanabe, you guys mentioned she did. Um, she was doing pretty straightforward, simple stuff, but I love the way she pieced it together. There was a spot in the middle of the match I saw that, and I'm like, I would have stolen that if I was still working because she's got Suzume in the corner. She does this big running splash, pulls her out, whips her to the ropes on the far side, comes off the other ropes herself, and just does a shoulder block. And after she hits it, she hits that shoulder block, and she stands there and kind of rolls her shoulders and looks down at her. And I was like, that's badass. And you know what that was? That was a splash in the corner and a shoulder block is all it was.
She's done stuff like that before, and sometimes she'll do power moves and get almost in like the like a sumo like squat type of
Hmm.
thing, and just like hunch down. And she could do it because she's I would say she's arguably like the strongest in Tokyo Joshi Pro.
Probably, yeah.
There's a lot. Tokyo Joshi Pro is a little different than Stardom in that there's some girls in Stardom, like Saya Aida, who's like very like built and muscular. But a lot of the girls in Tokyo Joshi Pro are like kind of the smaller side,
And like
very
like
petite.
4'10", 4'11", like that,
Oh yeah,
right?
I looked it up. Like I looked it up.
Tiny.
Miyu is 5'3", so she's not tall. But Suzume is 5 feet tall.
Yeah.
Shoko Nakajima is like under 5
4'10".
feet.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
like 4'10".
And that's why you get she's obviously very statuesque, very lovely, but you have someone like uh Camille,
As
who's like
5'8", 5'8",
I think she might be 5. Is she 5'10"? I think she might
5'8"
be.
or
Maybe
5'10".
not.
Yeah, one of those.
I know. Well, in Saki-sama was like 5'10",
Yeah,
and they like tower over them.
and they do like a lot of like very Kevin Nashy things, like the choke
Mm.
with the boot in the corner stuff.
Well,
I
to bring it back to Stardom, like I think like Starlight Kid, who's great, is like maybe 5 feet tall too, and you have someone like
5'1", I
Lady
think.
Yeah, and then someone like Lady C, who's like 5'10", 5'11", which is tall for a young woman. But she's like she almost is like the Kevin Nash type, where she's
Yeah,
like, I'm gonna do choke slams because like I'm doing it to a girl who's like 10 inches smaller than me.
and you have Bozilla that's like 5'10" that just wrecks people.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing to go with cool things Mayu did, I liked when they were on the apron and she went to do the teardrop suplex. And like, oh, she's gonna do it on the apron. She's like, nah, and she just chucked her over the top rope into the ring.
Yeah.
That actually I got nervous at that spot because I'm like, oh, is she gonna do it like to the floor? But she put her inside, which made more logical sense because you're not gonna win
Yeah.
it outside. But
And I liked her power slam off the middle rope. That was pretty cool. Like her other power slam was pretty good too. But like, what I like is the whole concept is, like I said, Suzume desperately trying to not go toe to toe with her. And there's a cool spot early that like really sold that, where they were kind of getting ready to do a lockup and Suzume just kind of dove and picked her leg to get her down again. But like so the end run pretty much is they get in a situation and Suzume pretty much has to go toe to toe with her and she gets wrecked and beaten. And I thought that was like a good, because there's also like they also build a really good sense of, I would say, almost futility during the match for Suzume, where she's just fighting the inevitable.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. As the match goes on, Watanabe keeps catching her and catches her more and more. And then you get to the end, and there's this moment of right before they do their big strike exchange that leads into the finish, where it's like, we're not, yeah, we're not. She kind of looks up and she's like, I'm not getting away from this. So she starts putting everything she's got into it. And it was a good way of doing the storytelling. I don't I don't know how well it would transition for a lot of American fans, but I liked it a lot.
I also liked, and it was very low key, and they would fuck this up in WWE or AEW, but they were doing a lot of stuff on the outside, and then they get on the ring apron and they just kind of nod each other like, okay, let's just cut this crap out and keep this in the ring. And then they went back in the ring. And then
Mhm.
that's when they started and it was actually one of the, because I think that the strike exchange is hack, and I'm tired of it being in every match. But that was like one of the rare times where that spot like made sense.
Mhm.
And I don't know what Mayu does, but like she made her strikes sound like death too, when she was like doing her forearms.
Yeah. And there's a trick to that, and I don't know all of them. I only know some of them. And between these and the one that Takeshita, who did he hit with it? I don't remember. Takeshita just clobbered somebody with one in this past week. I'm looking around going, all right, how'd you pull that off? Cause I want to know how you made that one work.
We might have to do the Yuka and Takeshita versus Hyper Mizawa and I can't remember who she's teaming up with. I can't remember his name, but we should do that match on a future show because that's coming up.
should do we should give Shad a compilation of Hyper Masal matches.
I don't know what he'd think of her.
she she does a lot of comedy stuff, but she's a good worker. So It depends. Like
She's
you may
kind of
get
like a superhero Shad, except she's crazy.
yeah. It's like, what if a superhero but also crazy, and sometimes she brandishes a gun?
Yeah.
And it's like, okay.
So I've seen a lot of discussion that's kind of been bubbling around here lately, and I'm I'm taking my liberty of a tangent of about wrestling comedy. And the thing that in my head is, it seems like that when there is someone there are people who try to do comedy, and it's like they're trying to do, they're doing a straight up comedy bit or something like that. But when you have people who have something goofy built into their gimmick, they can do something amusing as part of it, and it fits and it all kind of comes together. And that's the thing I think we're missing a lot of, is there's so many people who get so dead set on being, super serious badass that there's no room to be able to do throw something like that in. And so it's good to hear gimmicks like that.
There's
Uh,
I think it was in Progress. There was a Colt Cabana match, and he was wrestling a guy. His name was the Dog, so he came to the ring and he was throwing tennis balls, and the guy would like chase after them. And so they start doing their thing, and the guy bites him, and Colt's going like, "Oh my god, I've got rabies!"
yeah.
And he's just like rolling around on the mat, screaming he's got rabies, and the crowd starts chanting it at him. Like stuff like that's funny. Or it was a Chikara one where he was giving people the bionic elbow, and I think like Colin Delaney like ripped his elbow pad off and elbow dropped his elbow pad.
So for straight up comedy matches, one I saw recently, it was it was Colt Cabana and Grado, and I had an absolute ball watching this match because both of the guys are funny, but there's also this moment, like there's a moment right in the middle of it where Cabana just does this big overhand chop, and Grado's like, "I quit, I'm leaving," and he he walks out of the ring and he just tries to leave until Colt's able to lure him back. He cracks open a beer and lures him back with it. Like, not everybody can pull that off. You've got to be, you've got to have some pretty good chops to be able to do that. And I had a lot of fun watching that match. It was great. But just doing something silly, like you said, having a superhero who might just straight up be crazy. It's like, okay, all right, I can see how we could have some fun with that. And it's not like you have to have a comedy gimmick, but having a gimmick that might be a little goofy or a little silly would be fine.
Her
I
and
don't know. It's
her and Shoko have like a like they have a gimmick match every 1-4 show, and there's some sort of stake it involves. Like one year they brought a bunch of like action figures that they were doing spots on and stuff. I don't remember what they did last year. Oh, last year was the snake thing, which went a
Yeah,
little too
and
long. Because on Poison,
it went
Suwama
yeah.
was up to antics.
Poison Julie Sawada
Yeah.
like came out of retirement. He was what, DDT, like
Yeah, he
way
was
back in the day,
DDT.
like 20 years ago, 25 years ago.
Yeah, he was
Uh,
involved when the DDT belt won itself.
yeah.
So,
Uh,
Shad, what
he still
happened
looked good.
is
He looked good for his age. He's probably like 60 now. Like he looked pretty good.
so Shad, what happened is someone took out the champion and they put the belt on his chest like kind of as an embarrassment thing, and the referee counted, and so the belt won
the belt
itself.
won itself.
And then they're doing like I need to find the clip because it's hilarious. But then there's like an interview of Jun Akiyama, and it's just sitting there on the table, and he puts his elbow on it, and they start counting. He's like, "What the fuck?" And he takes his elbow off, and he does it again, and he won the belt.
He just forgets it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's like, "Why are you counting it?" But yeah, there's some good DDT ones with the belt, like the ladder got a retirement ceremony because it won the belt a bunch of times. A dog won it at some point.
Yeah. And that's a fun running gag that takes it to its absurd maximum. And you know what? Sometimes you need that, but if yeah, if you were to try and do that in WWE stuff, then you know they would kill it. Like they'd
Well,
run
they
it
did
into
with
the
the.
ground immediately.
I mean they never did enough with when poor Rockstar Spud couldn't consummate his relationship until he got the 24/7 belt back.
Mhm.
Yeah, like between him and Ron Killings, taking that 24/7 title and actually doing funny stuff with it,
Why didn't they even
like
have
that was
Jerry?
fantastic.
Didn't they even have Jerry Briscoe doing stuff with him?
I don't remember that part.
Because I think Jerry might have won, and I think the Singh brothers were doing stuff with him too.
I don't remember that.
Because that was the
I
only interesting thing about Jinder Mahal's title reign was like them finding new ways to die for my entertainment.
I it, yeah, those two guys needed to have more opportunities to have more fun, but then someone just kind of decreed we're not doing that anymore. And I was like, oh,
But also matches like this is kind of when I talk about how North American women often get graded on a scale because you watch this match compared to like a lot of women's matches that get overpraised here, and you're like, okay, this execution is flawless. Like they were doing things like I don't even think like talented male wrestlers could do with like some of the ways they were like doing pinning combinations and there were other things where I was like, yeah, there's a lot of indie workers that could like watch this stuff, like especially like how
Oh
Mayu
yeah.
wrestles to her character, the way they told stories. I think the way they didn't overthink the match too much.
yeah.
No, I
It,
agree. Like
yeah.
there's a lot of like male talent that could watch this, but it is also compared to a lot of female like at least North American talent. Like this is better than a lot of them.
The psychology was really good. Like the psychology was great, and the
Yeah.
fact that they made it, you could tell. Like even without, I think even without Shad, what would be better be able to answer this? But I think even if you didn't have a lot of context to what was going on, the match felt important because of the way they approached it.
They came into it portraying an amount of gravitas. Even though Miu Watanabe's music made me want to take a fork to my ear,
Mm.
and not the outside, like getting in there, but it was this match. They were both taking it seriously. There was no screwing around. There was no haha. There was like this is the they were conveying the weight behind it.
And they didn't over dramatize it because you were kind of talking about that Suzume, but I was gonna say her economy of movement, like she didn't stop to pose, she didn't stop to be extra dramatic. It was okay, I got her down. Like, what do I need to do now? And the same thing with Mayu was okay. Like Mayu would stop to show frustration, I think, to help make you want to cheer for Suzume more. But like, they didn't do like that over dramatic, like I'm feeling thing stuff. It was more just okay, like what am I doing next? How do I put this person away?
Yeah, and I did love the transitions they would do to take it from the Suzume's hit and fade into Watanabe's taking over because there was, she's trying to avoid the giant swing, and the announcers adding in there that's saying that's one move she really wants to avoid because it messes with her balance and she can't do her usual offense that way. And she popped up and went in for that cutter, and Watanabe caught her and did basically a reverse giant swing where she's holding her base under the shoulders instead of by the feet. And I'm like, that's that's good stuff right there.
She
I
she's
really like that.
she's before like when she was she's done it on the apron, but she's done stuff where they've been in the ropes and she's pulled them into a giant swing and swung them like through the ropes like with no issue. And she's
Like
done
hammer tossing them through.
yeah, and she's done more than one person before with the giant swing.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, she's again, she's ridiculously strong.
Yeah. And she's done it like she The reverse one's cool when she does do that.
You were talking about the how strong she was, and I was sitting here thinking about it. When I was training a lot, I was doing stuff with, like, I would do boxing drills with 5 pound weights, mainly because the idea was not so much like, oh, I'm getting stronger with this, but I was trying to like strengthen my connective tissue. But I could only go like so long at a time, like holding my hands out here, throwing punch combinations with it. And she's out there doing like dance stuff. I'm straight up blown away by that. So
Mhm.
seeing her strength manifest in this match was really cool. I know it's a it was kind of a foregone thing, or it's already been done, but just seeing the way it was done, I really liked.
Well, I brought up her softball background because that's kind of like what's behind her doing basically like the double axe handle like chop on
Yeah,
someone because
yeah.
it's supposed to kind of mimic like swinging the bat, but she's like
Hmm.
she's hitting people. But I actually love that because like that's you don't see anyone doing that. I mean, back in the day, you'd see some guys, even like in New Japan, like Tenzan, where he'd do like the Mongolian chop like thing. You don't see people doing like unique chops like that or unique offense like that. Like her doing that, like the double axe handle, like is really actually pretty cool.
Ivan
I know
Putski.
one person.
Well, I had Putski back in the day.
Oh,
Yeah.
Kenny Omega does.
Oh yeah,
The
that's
You
true.
come
chops,
off
like
the rope and Omega doubles it up. It does that
That is
uh,
true.
Polish hammer across the chest.
Well, and I think it works for her because, like, I think when you like, she's obviously like in character, she's a good wrestler, but she's also like, there's a bit of unrefinement to how she wrestles, and it's by design. Like I said, she has a very simplistic offense because it's just like, well, I'm strong, so why am I gonna do flips or flops when I can just pick you up and slam you?
Yeah, when I can just clobber the hell out of you.
Yeah. And she sticks to that really well. Like that's where I wish a lot of people would watch her and be like, "No, see, this is how you wrestle like your character."
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I will
liked
also
it.
say,
Oh, go ahead,
oh, go
man.
ahead.
I know, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say that for people who's also seen Suzume for a while, and I know Brad and I have paid attention to Tokyo Joshi Pro for a little bit. It just in the last like 2 years, like, she has dramatically improved as a worker. Uh, she wasn't she wasn't like lower card, but I've seen her move up the card. She had for a brief time she had the Princess of Prince. Sorry, she had the
International.
International Princess title. Yeah, which is kind of like their mid card. It would be like the equivalent of like your TNT title in AEW, the Intercontinental title in WWE back in the day. Now it's like who cares about Intercontinental US titles, like just whatever titles, but it's like their secondary title, singles title. And she held that for a bit, but she's moved up. So her like challenging for the world title is actually a big deal, especially at a big show. It's almost to me, it's like you're kind of signaling that you could potentially put it on her in the future. I I think you had a point, Brad. I was just gonna say, like, thinking about Tokyo Joshi Pro, I think that what they're probably gonna do, if I had to guess, is that they're a little bit further in the year, they're gonna have maybe Yuki Arai win the title. I think she's kind
Yeah,
of pushing her to be
she's
next in line
yeah, that's what
and
the
elevate her.
sense I've gotten.
Yeah.
Cuz Stardom, I don't know. I have a better It's funny I've watched more Stardom lately, but I have a better idea of where TJPW is going to go cuz Saya's got is out with a concussion right now, but I'm not sure who's going to take the belt off of her.
Saya Kamatami's out has a concussion.
Yeah, she hasn't been on the shows this month.
Mm.
She
Well, I
hasn't
know
been
she
on
like
since Queendom.
she I think was like she filmed like a bit part in a TV show. So maybe like she has a concussion. They're just like, oh, she's just doing these other things to
I
kind
would
of mask like her recovery. But
I would imagine Suri would be challenging her soon because she beat her for the IWGP. So that would make sense that she would want the red belt. But I'm not totally sure on that because I'm a couple shows behind, but I've been watching it because I found out I can AirPlay it from my iPad to the TV, so I can watch it on TV, which has made it more. For some reason, the Wrestle Universe app says I can AirPlay it, then it says nothing's connected, and I'm like, I am literally connected, and the TV is connected, so I have to figure that out. And I've tried to look it up online, and people say that's kind of a known Wrestle Universe issue is the intermittent AirPlay support. So sad panda.
Awesome. Yeah.
So, like I said, I like the match. I would say I tend to agree with. I would probably go 4.5 for it because I really enjoyed it. I know Shad offline said 4. What he would say.
I'd say a solid 4, and that's not talking down to anything. Like, that's 4 is really good.
Yeah.
Meltzer gave it a 4.5. I almost feel like I would need to watch it again, but I'm probably in line with Shad that I'd probably give it a 4. Watching it again, I might give it like a 4.425. But I don't think I'd give it 4.5. But it's really good.
It's an easy
Some
watch
people
too.
like, oh, early match of the year contender. It's like I think we're probably going to get better.
Yeah,
It's
because
certainly I would say up there in like one of the best matches of January.
it would be on my list. It's not going to win match of the year. It's not good enough. But like it would be on for Joshi. It's already on my list because there was also uh Hazuki versus May Sarah on the 111 Stardom show that I would have on my list. I need to watch because I've heard good things. I need to watch the Chiro Hashimoto versus Saya Ida match. And
I heard that's good.
yeah, and that's on Wrestle Universe because it's Sendai Girls. So I need to watch that.
Big
And then
hash.
and then the Artist of Stardom title match from 111 I think would be on my list of like notable Joshi matches. Like if I did a yearly comp, those 3 matches would be on there so far. And I have a couple shows to get through still on there. But the way they've been using Maki Ito has been interesting because she's been losing a lot, but like kind of the stuff they're doing is she's not meshing well with her partners, and so it's costing her matches. Like there's one where like Micah tries to like lift her on her shoulders to do kind of like she's gonna like splash her off her shoulders onto the person, and she like totally freaks out and ruins the move and then gets beat. Like that's the kind of stuff they've been doing with her.
How's her work been? Like her in
Pretty
ring
good.
work?
Pretty good.
Because I just saw a clip, but she was like doing like forearm strike exchange with somebody. I forget who it was, but they looked like stiff. They looked like actually they weren't just like
Yeah.
They looked like she was just she's laying them in. I'm like, oh okay, like
She looks like she
Nakahito
belongs, I would say.
stepping up to the table in Stardom, which has a very Stardom is probably close
There's
to the
a
top in terms of
there's a high working
in-ring
standard.
work.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
a high working
there's other
standard.
places, maybe like Sendai Girls, that potentially could be at that level or higher even, but like
I would
it's up
say
there.
Sendai Girls is a bit below that now. But yeah, it's a high, she hasn't looked out of place, so I would say that means she's doing pretty good. She has done her new thing is she flips the double bird and says fuck you and gives them the stunner. Which is funny.
Well, nobody else is doing the Steve Austin gimmick here. I might have.
Well, there's a thing. If you haven't seen a lot of Japanese wrestling, which Shad would be surprised, they really love like doing the double finger and saying "fuck you," even when there's no like Americans in there because I don't know. It's fun to say. I think is why they do it.
I know it was in uh God, it's in Jericho's book that he has that it was considered so disrespectful in Japan that he would use it mercilessly. Like he would go back to it because it just kept working. And it's like, okay, all right, all right. And then it just kind of seems to me like that sounds like that it's hitting on a lot of the same stuff.
Yeah, I think it's fun to do too, so that helps. Well, I think too. I don't know if wrestlers did it. You know, especially with, like the more modern filming and stuff. You hear so much more of like what they say now. So I wonder if like you just kind of missed that a little
Mm-hmm.
more back in like the VHS days, whereas now you pretty much hear everything they say.
Yeah,
And I also this was
yeah,
a good match too because the big shows Shad on these services usually have English commentary, so it was a good match I think to introduce you because there was like some
yeah. It, like I said, the announcers helped an awful lot, and um, it's just one of those things where I really appreciate being able to have a little additional background
yeah.
with what's going on.
I miss Chris Brooks though. He used to do a lot of these commentaries and he was like great at it.
He was good. Who was doing the commentary for this?
I don't know. He's been doing it forever though cuz he used to do it with Chris
Was it
Brooks.
Balianaki?
Maybe.
I think so. I think it because he is also a wrestler. He actually very briefly has appeared in AEW, but he's in Choco Pro with Emi Sakura. I don't know if he's like linked up with oh my god, why am I not remembering her name?
Doesn't May Sarah do it a lot?
Masaru Segura.
Oh yeah, yeah, okay. You're right.
He's like he has a long standing tag team with her. And they both work with Emi Sakura, who I think she trained May
Yeah.
along with a ton of other women wrestlers like Riho,
Yeah.
Hikaru Shida. Like she's trained like a ton of people.
Yeah, she's been around forever.
She's been around forever.
I think she
But he's
wrestled
linked up
in
with her. In,
because she wrestled in All Japan Women. I think in the as far back as like the mid
oh yeah,
'90s.
she's been around like 20, 25 years. She's been around a long time.
That's just,
But he's
I
done
saw
like
it
Tokyo
was
Joshi Pro commentary.
I saw it was about 3 years ago that Amy Sakura and Jamie Hayter had a Rampage match. I got to see it live, and I mean, dude, they beat the living piss out of each other. Frankly, I was surprised, and I was surprised, but it was pretty awesome, I guess.
We are going to subject Shad to Choco Pro at some point. It's awesome,
You know,
Shad.
It's
I've got to come up with something to subject you guys to, but I don't know what it could be. I'm at a
they
loss as to what I could come up with.
there's not a ring. They're just in like this little room with like random fans just crowding around the corners and stuff.
Now wait a minute.
it's a tiny room, tiny.
I believe I saw Minoru Suzuki do one of those.
Yeah, he probably did.
So
Yeah.
Bryce
it's
did
like,
it last. Bryce refed for it last year.
did he really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got to be so awkward.
I haven't seen they just did like the 500th like show or episode. So they've been around, they've been doing it for a while.
They do pretty good views too.
It's I've not seen 500 of the shows, but
I've
it's
seen
fun.
like
It's
5 or 6 of them.
It's entertaining and it's kind of lighthearted.
Just don't think
again,
about
you're
it
gonna-
as wrestling, Shad, and you'll be fine.
Okay.
Yeah, Emi Sakura, Lianaki, Mai Segura. She is it. What's her last name? Is it Kushinaka?
Does Antonio Honda pop up on there every now and then?
He does. He does.
Yeah.
He's popped up not that long ago. He pops up sometimes.
I always,
Antonio Honda also of DDT.
he's a comedy character, Shad. He just randomly pops up.
He's a comedy character, but he's a good worker. Like he's actually, I've seen him in actually like some good like matches.
Yeah.
Like where he's doing the work. Like he's pretty good. Yeah, but that's fun. Like Choco Pro is a good time.
Yeah.
There's I wish kind of sorry to cut you off, Brad. I wish kind of that there was the equivalent of like a Chikara in today's day and age. Like there isn't, but
Maybe I don't think it's easy to get anymore, but maybe Osaka Pro, because that's Super Delphin's.
yeah.
He had the most annoying move in the WCW Verse games.
Okay.
He had that one where he'd wrap him
What?
up real weird and kind of like do the taunting while he was doing it.
Which one was he?
He's the one that kind of has the mask with the nose. If you saw a picture of me, know him.
Probably.
Let's see if I can find a picture of for chat. But yeah, I thought this was a fun little like just a one-off. I'm looking at for a picture of him for you.
Okay.
But is there any other little tidbits? I know the other talk has been the Rumble build has been terrible.
It's been bad, but then again, it's not in America. And I mean, I saw someone make the point that because people, it's like, oh, the build's been terrible. It's like, yeah, because Triple H doesn't have any like more surprises. There's no like big names, but I mean, I guess there kind of is, right? You have Will Hobbs you just signed, like you can still Will Hobbs, but I mean, you also
Here, Shad, I sent a picture.
don't feel like I feel like you haven't introduced Will Hobbs, and it's kind of you throwing him into the wolves to be like, oh, the audience is going to recognize him. Like, I don't think so. I guess if you secretly sign Jericho, you could have him. But it's also like, why are you going to waste a big surprise in like a Saudi Arabia show?
Yeah.
Like the people at home, if your goal is to pop like social media, maybe they'd be like, oh, Chris Jericho. But in terms of like a crowd reaction, like it's I don't really think a Saudi Arabia crowd is going to pop for people.
Well,
Like you
not
would.
Powerhouse Hobbs.
No. One thing that is of note is that as of like 2 weeks ago, like the stadium didn't exist, and they built it in like 2 weeks.
They got
It's gonna be super safe.
They got the contractors that do all those like FIFA and Olympic stadiums when they need a stadium in 2 weeks and they don't care about the human rights cost involved.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's gonna be
Guys,
be
what's
super
this?
safe.
That's so amazing. What's the secret?
Yeah.
That's not a joke, by the way. It's
No.
actually
No,
slave
it's
labor.
not.
No,
It
it's
is
not.
And
slavery.
I would be interested to see. Well, you won't know because you're not in an actual part of the country that cares about things like freedom of speech or freedom of press or actually investigative journalism. But I would be really surprised if you didn't have horrible injuries or death or whatever involved.
Oh, they
Mhm.
just
You can't build a stadium in like 2 weeks without breaking a few eggs. And by breaking a few eggs, I mean human beings.
yeah. What's
Yeah,
a few thousand? What's a few hundred to a few thousand people when there's money to be made?
It's like the Lord Farquaad line from
Oh
Shrek.
yeah,
It's
some
like,
of you
yes,
may die, but
many
that's
of you die. That's a price I'm willing to pay.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
God, that's a
Definitely.
telling joke, isn't it?
But yeah, I mean that's like I said, they got the contractors that do the Olympic stadiums when they need one in 2 weeks or the FIFA ones, which I'm not kidding about.
Mhm.
Chad, what's
Yes.
a few lies for moments, and big interests and
And I'm sure they're getting a nice influx of some of those Iranian protesters that have been, disappearing too.
Look,
So
I am the wrong person to ask that question to. Because I have.
their fans don't care and they don't care though. Their fans like have excused terrible behavior repeatedly.
I've been
so
spending a lot of time in this past week steadily chewing a hole in my cheek because I'm. God, so you know what? We just won't.
but like their fans and stuff don't care about that. Like I don't.
Yeah, it's just at this point, it's one more log on the fire of everything is awful and we can't make it. I can't make it go away.
Though I mean, I will say, I am surprised that Bill Burr has paid a price of views and everything for the whole Saudi Arabia thing.
Well, because him doing it went in the face of what a lot of his previous presentation had been.
Yeah.
So what he had done is there was a violation of the expectation that he himself had built. And in doing so, that's what ran a bunch of his fans off. There are some fans that you're going to hit them with something. They're going to, oh, your favorite guy did this. And they're going to be like, yeah, yeah, he did. That doesn't bother you. It's like, this is, I mean, this that's the kind of stuff I would expect out of this
Well,
person.
his reaction was bad too because he's like, "Oh, they have a Starbucks just like us," and it's like, okay, it's
Yeah.
but there's other people with that. They're like Pete Davidson was like, "Yeah, I did it for the money," and everyone was like, "Fair enough, sir. We're gonna move on."
Well, to that, I he got clowned on. He should be, but I guess Bert Kreischer did like a podcast or something, and it's like, yeah, I was offered, but I didn't do it because they wouldn't like let me show up without my shirt on. And it's like, one, it's like that's the most Bert Kreischer answer, because what do you have besides you just show up? You're a big fat dude who shows up. And
One story.
Oh no,
you take your shirt off. You take your shirt off.
No,
The other
Matt,
thing is like,
now
are you kidding me? Like that's the reason. You should be like, oh, I am morally ejected.
Matt, he has two things he does. He has the shirtless thing and the rampant alcoholism. And the story he tells everyone.
Yeah, he has the machine,
which isn't even a true story. So
now the thing that I love, speaking of that, it reminds me, and I know I'm taking my liberty of tangent again because the hell, reminds me of my favorite roast I have ever seen, because Nikki Glazer just did a drive-by on him while she destroyed everybody on stage at the Tom Brady roast. And it's like, Bert Kreischer's here with the shirt on. That's funny when he takes his shirt off because people are supposed to have their shirt on. There, Bert, I did your whole set for you.
You know what?
It's just like,
you know what I think's hilarious is their show, which I never really listened much to, which is Two Bears, One Cave. So they stopped doing it for a while, and they got replacements that would fill in for them, and then they started doing it again, and their fans were like, "What the fuck are you doing? We like your replacements better." So then they were kind of doing both, and the replacements were like doing better numbers than they were, which is hilarious.
who was it Kreischer and who?
Oh, Tom Segura and Kreischer were the.
Oh, that doesn't shock me.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Tom Segura, I think, started strong and then
got a little up his own ass like Louis C.K. did.
A little bit. And to be honest with you, Tom Segura's wife
is terrible.
Was also really. The one special of hers I've seen, I thought was pretty damn funny, but
she's just kind of a shit person, though.
Who is he married to? I don't even know.
Christina P. I don't know what it stands for. That's just, I know what the stage name is, but
they're like two people that bring out the worst qualities in each other when they're doing stuff together on like shows.
But it's not
Christina Pazitsky.
Yes.
Well,
no wonder she goes by the initial.
I've actually never heard of her. This is interesting.
Oh, and Whitney Cummings has been like crashing out like consistently since that happened, so that's been hilarious.
I don't have any like animosity towards her, but I remember I'm flashing back to years ago before he left. Before he died, God love him. Norm Macdonald had a great line about her. It's like, Whitney Cummings, like, who's funnier than her? Except any dude. It's like, oh.
There's so much Norm Macdonald stuff that cracks me up.
Norm Macdonald And this like continues like the longer he's been gone. He has been gone that long, but I mean, Norm Macdonald legit is in the discussion for one of the funniest guys in the last like 50 years. Like he's underappreciated, and he's appreciated a lot. But I mean, he was a
I
hilarious.
I appreciated Norm Macdonald, but I felt like a lot of his humor just wasn't for me. So
That's fair.
that's fine. And that's fine. Not everybody's going to be for everybody. There are some people that, how can I put this? There were some people that it's like, okay, I liked your stuff, and then they didn't really seem to move beyond the first thing. And then there's another one I was thinking, it was like, I kind of liked your stuff, and then, oh God, yeah, you're going to prison for that? Never mind. Um, holy shit. Uh, and
There's a
so,
there's a there's a clip that got passed around on social media like a couple weeks ago where it was he had a show. I don't know if it's like a podcast. It was like there was a video component to it, but he had Bob Saget on. So before Bob Saget died, and he had Bob Saget on. Bob Saget was like telling this like story, and like he was leading to a punchline, and then Norm Macdonald just was like, "Ah, yeah, this right." He just drops the punchline, and Bob Saget, his face just falls. He's like, "I literally set up this whole story, and you just told my own fucking punchline, like it ruined it for me." And he's fun, and Norm Macdonald just gets the biggest smile because he knows he's just screwed his friend, he's just messed with his friend. And it's like, yeah, it's this, right? And he like turns to the camera and is like, all right, it's all the time we have. Like, see you later. He like ends the show, and it's like, oh god, he doesn't even have let Bob Saget have like a rebuttal.
yeah,
It's like that's Norm Macdonald. He just like
my
sometimes he just
my
did stuff just to like mess with his
Former
friends.
former Chikara commissioner Bob Saget.
Oh yeah,
my favorite Norm Macdonald gag was when he was on, and I know it's probably cliche to say this, but when he was on Conan O'Brien and did the moth joke.
oh yeah.
And
The moth joke
everybody
is
knows how that joke
amazing.
goes,
Yeah,
but he keeps finding new ways to drag it out further and further and further and further to make the punchline not worth it. And that to me was really funny. But a lot of Norm stuff is just like, I get what you're doing, but it just don't hit for me.
I
And
what
that's
I
fine.
loved about him on Conan O'Brien is like when they brought him on, and by the guest, you're like, oh, you just brought him on to be like because he's gonna make this person uncomfortable because they were just waiting for him to like say something, and he usually would.
I'm trying to think of right now people that I want to see. Well, I know in March I'm going to get to see Patrick Warburton, which is great because that guy's just got a delivery that can make me laugh, probably reading the phone book. Just the way he delivers lines cracks me up. Um,
Patrick Warburton.
Patrick Warburton here doing stand up. It's just the delivery's so great.
He's done I think he's done like some probably like a TikTok or something stuff like with his sons. He has like three or
Yeah,
four sons,
yeah,
and all of them sound like him. So they all the joke of like the brief videos, like they all start like doing the voice, hit the Patrick Warburton voice. It's
yeah.
like, oh god.
Oh
I,
God, I think I made a mistake.
it's so funny with him though because like you can tell how old someone is probably by what they know him from.
Hmm.
Cause like,
Well, yeah,
well, there's Putty from Seinfeld. There's Kronk.
Mhm.
Um, oh shit, what else? There's one other one I'm
the
thinking of.
tick.
Yeah, the
Well,
Tick.
obviously Joe Swanson from Family Guy.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Rules of Engagement,
Though I
which
saw,
was just a standard filler kind of sitcom thing. But man, Patrick Warburton just elevated everything he did in that by sheer delivery.
I think my favorite thing he ever did though is the Seinfeld episode where they're going to the Rangers game and he has the devil face paint because he's a Devils fan and he's like freaking people out.
I didn't like Seinfeld, so I never watched that. But Yeah, if for me, it's I mean the takeaway's easy. Emperor's New Groove is just Patrick Warburton and Eartha Kitt goofing off in all of their scenes, just and doing a fantastic job with it. It's amazing.
That movie really does have a great voice cast because then it has David Spade and John Goodwin.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
That's
Cusco's poison. Poison for Cusco. Poison specifically chosen to kill Cusco. That it's like, how do you get through that line without cracking? It's so absurd, and he does such a good job.
I need to watch. I haven't watched that movie in a while. I should put that on.
Yeah. I tried to get my kids to watch it with me, and then they wanted to put on something else, and I was like, nope, I'm finishing this.
I think
I'm cashing in my dad privilege, and we're finishing this one.
But yeah, who do we think's winning the Rumble this year? Are they gonna be lame like last year, or Cody? I guess is gonna win it.
Well, I think the matches that we're looking at is what, like maybe CM Punk Braun,
Maybe.
and then Cody Drew.
I feel like the Punk Braun thing has really lost a lot of its luster because he beat Braun already.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you just beat him clean on
Yeah.
TV.
I think you're looking at Cody winning it, or if they do like something where it's like Roman is involved, then Roman could win it. Maybe you're doing Punk Roman. I don't know, or Braun would win it.
Roman's not
Is
challenging for the chump
this
belt.
this 2-night Rumble?
I don't. I
I
only saw
honestly don't know.
January 31st. I don't think, have they ever
Okay,
done
maybe
two
it is.
nights in Saudi Arabia, because I don't know how that would work.
I think they're doing it probably next year for Mania.
Well, yeah. Well, I think
Next year is in Maine. It's in Saudi Arabia, right?
well, I
Like,
think
Mania is.
I think all the big pay-per-views are going to end up over there, especially if like crowds start dwindling a little bit, because all they care about is money now.
Oh,
Like their fans can get fucked for all they care.
I think that where this is leading is that if the numbers dwindle, which I think they will eventually, that you're
Well,
gonna
they have
probably
to.
you could see TKO selling to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, because I think that's always been my concern with their new ownership is uh people would freak out because of like the Fed drone thing, but it's like, well, no, it's wrestling. Like the numbers will go down eventually because the numbers always go down. And I think it might get worse if the numbers are going down this year and CMLL continues to do what they're doing, because like it's January and CMLL's already on pace to beat last year and like destroy last year.
Oh,
Which is so wild.
It's January 27th, so the month is almost over. But Mystico in the month of January has like 15 or 16 sellouts.
Yeah. Like they're just
Which
destroying right now.
That's insane. Like if you had in the course of a year, like one guy in the course of a year, so 12 calendar months, do like 15, 16 sellouts of like an arena. Like you'd be like, that guy's like the best, one of the best guys on the planet. Like in terms of like, he's a star. Like he had Hangman Page sell out, an arena, several thousand seats, 15, 16 times. You'd be like, dude.
And he's done this twice.
But Mystico's done that. Mystico's done that this month.
He's done it twice. He did it in the aughts. Like he's doing the Hulk Hogan thing.
Yeah.
Of leading like two booms.
Yeah.
Like just crazy. And I mean, AAA had him for a while and did not like get the same juice out of him.
He's gonna go up there when it's all said and done. He's gonna go up there as one of the greats of
Hall of Fame,
probably ever. Yeah,
Hall of Fame.
And he'll deserve it because like his selling out places is going to be up there with anyone compared to Hogan, Austin, Blair.
Like commercial success wise, he probably has like one of the best resumes of like the modern era. Because I mean, I'm sure if you go back, like, oh, Santo and you know El Io del Santo and like all those guys like might have more like commercial success in a different era, but like in a modern era with all the things you're going up against to like just be this successful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's it's again, it's an overused expression, but he is a generational talent. Like he is. There's very few people of that level.
Yeah.
Was
And
once a handful of maybe every generation that are even close to that. Maybe only one or two that actually reached that level.
and it just kind of became a story last year because people ignore Mexico, but like last year wasn't a fluke. They're like 3 years into like being hot. Like last year was just where it hit like a critical mass point and people noticed. I think largely because
2020.
I
Yeah, go ahead.
think I think largely because AEW did that Arena Mexico show and these people saw how hot the crowds were.
Yeah. No, they've been going strong for, I would say, since at least 2023, maybe before, but
Yeah.
certainly 2023. But then last year was insane, and this year is like already off to that.
No, they won my promotion of the year for 2023.
Yeah.
They might get
And
it.
look, everything.
They might get it in
Yep.
26 again, but I mean, I think Stardom is off to a hot start too. So like those are my promotions duking out for it right now.
Mhm.
I need to dig into All Japan because All Japan's supposedly really good and they might be in the running this year. And hopefully I can get back into AEW in the summer, but I don't know how that's going to go because I've been kind of keeping an eye from afar and I'm just like I am not into what they're selling in the main event.
Dude, I gotta tell you, the Davis and Doyle tag team has started off so hot.
Aren't they challenging for the tag titles tomorrow?
Yeah.
I don't think that they're going to do it. I would give the percentage of opportunity like it's going to happen like maybe 10%, but there's a lot of their support, including myself,
I
who
would
are
do
like,
Mhm.
screw your plans for Christian and Edge against FTR. Like, just belt up Doyle and Davis. Just
yeah,
do
it's
it.
CNC can still beat
Yeah.
them if you want
Look,
to do that.
no, I think I actually had heard it. Maybe it's true, but that Edge and Christian, like one of them is injured. So it's
Probably
like, if that's
Edge.
true, like look again. I like Tony Khan, but it's like, Tony Khan, this is like the umpteenth fucking example of, it's like you have plans, but then people get injured and you try to they'll shoehorn those
pivot,
plans in.
man.
It's like, no,
Yeah.
go.
To the
Like,
massive
I understand that allegedly Edge's contract is ending, I think in like late 2026, and he alleges like, oh, I'm not going to do any more contracts. I'm going to be done. Okay, like maybe you're like, I feel like we need to get. Okay, you could do that in the summer. You could
Yeah.
have him be a Sting, where it's like, I'm gonna, in my last match, you could win the title, and then be like, it's great. I'm retiring as champion. You have time. Belt up
Yeah.
Doyle
Doyle
and
and
Davis.
do
Yeah,
it.
Just go crazy.
Go for it, man.
we're seeing, but
Do
it's
it.
the same. It's the same thing with
Shake it
MJ. But like I thought he had improved on that, but he's doing the same thing with MJF. And now you have like your top two belts are in purgatory right now because you're just waiting for someone to come back from injury.
I said recently I was very negative at MGF, and I don't really want him as champion. But in fairness to them, he won against Bandito, which I expected. But
Yeah, they
you
were
already
having a lot
have
trigger.
like you have Andrade, that they're kind of building up to Andrade challenging. Andrade's going up against Swerve. Like, you actually there's actually like, you're kind of doing you're making it a little interesting, where it's like, I don't want NGF as champion, but I'd rather it be like all the guys are gunning for the belt, and you have guys that are, it's interesting matchups. It's not just tired. So I don't want him. I don't want the plan to be like he's gonna have like a 6, 7, 8 month run until,
I
No.
think
you know,
that's
hopefully Will Ospreay can come back. It's like,
that's what I think. I'm 95%
I think it's
sure
what they're gonna
that,
do,
yeah.
but I don't really want that.
But it's just because like it it takes the suspense out of the other matches because like, well, it's kind of interesting, but the other guy's not. It's the problem that the Moxley reign turned into, where you just didn't give a shit because like, oh, he's not ready to lose yet because they're dragging it out to this arbitrary point that we all knew, which was Paige winning, which was fine because they did it right with Paige, but there's a point where you're just kind of like, okay, guys, you're telegraphing a little too much for my taste.
Look, if it was up to me, and I mean, I'm not a billionaire like Tony Khan, so what do I know? But I almost would be like, maybe you shock the world, and by Revolution, you have Omega win the title, and then he is your champion in the hopes that Bray can come back. Like Wembley, you do Omega, Osprey in the main for Wembley, and then Osprey can win the title then, and he's won against like your best star.
Yeah.
And
I know
you
it's
can pass the
arguable.
torch that
People
way.
would be like Moxley, but it's like a pass the torch thing because I love Omega, but I mean even Omega is basically saying he doesn't have much left in the tank. And although he is saying like, oh, I'm healthier than I've been recently, and he's looked good.
Yes.
So I mean, but I love Omega. Like Omega, I would want a long reign. But I mean, it's also I'll take a 6-month Omega
I,
reign, 5-month, whatever.
I would do
I
something.
yeah.
I think I'd do something crazy and just have Takeshita win it or something, and just see how that goes for a couple months. Because that was my problem. Like when they did remember when they did the Four Pillars match with MJF?
Mhm.
My big issue with that was the way they built it up. I would have had Darby Allin beat him like on a Dynamite a couple weeks before, and then just have MJF win the belt back at the pay-per-view. But like that's kind of like been my problem with this booking is like you wouldn't have heard anything to just hot shot to Darby for a couple of weeks and seeing how it went. And he doesn't do stuff like that, which
No, he does not experiment wildly like that. I think there would be an opportunity that he could have had because the nice thing about the eliminator matches is if you win the eliminator match, you get a shot at that title. So have somebody win the eliminator match, and then when you get to the title match, MJF freaks out and does dastardly stuff in order to retain. And I mean, that's the old Flair formula. Whenever you'd have a new face show up, Flair would lose to them right out of the gate, and then you go into the match and Flair somehow hangs on. Okay, cool. What that does is that establishes the credibility of this new person. But I don't know. I just don't particularly like MJF as champion.
no,
Um,
I don't either.
I don't hate his. I didn't hate his first run,
I grew to hate it, but
but
I think if he showed more growth as like a character and as a performer, I would have less of an issue with it. But like, he really didn't show that, and I don't know. I was kind of burnt on the first reign, so I wasn't looking forward to it. But like, I also get the feeling if like Adam Cole was still healthy, he would be trying to finish that Adam Cole MJF thing.
the thing that if I see it, I know how pissed I'm going to be because in MJF's first reign, he had this tendency of um, cutting the nuts off of people who could have been challengers. And it comes off as a very insecure thing to do. And I don't like that. But if we don't get that sort of stuff, and we instead we're not seeing him like the thing with the build to the Bandito thing where he's trying to talk down and then Bandito face palms John Cruz and it's like I speak English, moron. Like that works for me because it's MJF trying to flex on him and then being made a fool of. It's like, okay, if we get more of that sort of stuff, I'm happier. I don't know how happy I am because I can't predict the future, but I would be happier with that.
My problem is the first time something doesn't work, though, he goes right for the crutch, which is the low hanging fruit, and it just kind of undoes
Yeah,
everything.
the edgelord stuff.
Yeah. And I mean, I understand sometimes something doesn't work, but I think where he gets in trouble is he immediately panics, whereas you can take the L and then figure it out for next week without going to your crutch, but I think he can't handle like a segment not working perfectly.
Mhm.
Which I get. That's tough to like something not working, but I think he needs to not do it. And I think it doesn't work as well when you're the champion.
Yeah.
But I think that is it for this week. Anything else before we go for the night, guys?
No.
Think of anything.
I'm
So-
about wore out, man.
Yeah, so we might experiment down the road a little more with doing like a single match a week on top of like just standard topics. We'll see what we think, because I kind of liked having the single match and then kind of doing a show around it. So we'll see what we think about that. We might hit some more USWA up soon, but I do not know what it's going to look like, because things are kind of complicated with the weather, and I think some of us are going to have some catching up to do with, life once the thaw sets in the
Yeah.
weekend. And I think
Yeah.
there's rumors we're getting more snow here for the weekend. So yeah,
I know it's just staying cold, man. It's
Yeah.
just staying cold all the time here. So
yeah.
I don't know.
But anyway, thank you for joining us as always. This has been Matt, Shad, and Brad. We've been in 3 corners, and you've been in the 4th, and we will catch you next time.